great religious teachers of history, whether it's Confucius or whether it's Christ or whoever else. Stories aren't lies. Stories are parables. Stories are constructs that we can identify with and we can tie ourselves into. And it makes the truth something that you can actually pull in. You can digest it. And the truth is that we're all bombarded every day by more information, by more data than we can ever possibly use. And if you've ever had a political argument, if any of you have ever had a political argument on Facebook, you understand that there are people, you give them fact after fact after fact after fact, and it bounces off of them like Teflon. Because until you change their internal story, you're not going to get anywhere. Some stories end up being so powerful that they can replace the internal narrative that you're using to drive yourself. I learned this from a coworker of mine, African-American female, who one day out of the blue said something political that we never heard her say, and I just kind of cocked my eyebrow. I said, "Really?" And she said, "Well, let me tell you a story." So I grew up in Mobile, lower middle class family, extended family, and when I was about 18 or 19 years old, we had a massive strike on the docks. Massive strike. The entire extended family was pooling resources just so everybody would be able to eat and get by. And for months, this strike just went on and on and on. And finally, one day I heard that Jesse Jackson was going to come down and he was going to break the stalemate. He was going to get people back to work, and we were just so excited. She said, "I went down to the hotel where the negotiations were taking place because I just wanted to see the man that was going to save my family." So she stayed out there and she watched as a limousine pulled up. And a guy got out of the limousine and looked around and then went up to her and said, "Do you know where the media is?" She said, "No, I hadn't seen anybody." He said, "Okay." He got back in the limo. And that limo stayed parked there for 30 minutes and then drove away. Her story, and this is her story, it's not my story, but her story was, after that, I decided that for the rest of my life, I wanted to be the exact opposite of that. And that's powerful. That's something that sticks with you for a very long time. Because as it turns out, when people are in emotional states, the information they get and the personalization of it becomes amplified.